Palworld has been out for a while now, and it's taken over my life and many of my friends and many other people's, because it's like topping charts is what I meant to say on Steam. And yeah, my brain's just rotted. I've been spending hours playing the game. It's got a fun little loop there going. Now, people are often calling it Pokemon with guns, and that's fair, but if you actually play the game, you'll realize it's more like Ark Evolved, the survival aspects, and definitely a Pokemon Legends Arceus vibe, not mainline Pokemon. It doesn't have the battle mechanics of mainline Pokemon at all, but it does have the creatures that are surrounded by that entire aesthetic, as well as just following this creature capturing mechanic. Definitely gives Digimon World 1 vibes if you ever played that old one, or like the one in PS5 or 4 where you feed them and make sure they don't use the bathroom. Although this one doesn't have the bathroom mechanic, thankfully, because God, I hated those Digimon. So Palworld was announced 2 years ago. I remember seeing the announcement trailer and thinking, wow, this is amazing. I like Temtem. I like Cassette Beast. Really loved Cassette Beast actually. And I thought this will be more of the same. Pokemon knockoff, off-brand Pokemon, whatever. I'll play it a bit. It'll be fun, but it won't catch headlines. This caught headlines. Now that they're in the spotlight, they are, well, dealing with a lot. And when I mean a lot, I mean also valid criticisms, but of course, the crazies that come out and start giving death threats to the developers. Yep, die-hard Pokemon fans, die-hard Nintendo fans attacking it because it's a Pokemon ripoff and saying that they're gonna get sued to the ground and just get annihilated. Here's the thing. They went through the proper channels, getting legal reviews. No one said anything. And I guarantee you, if they did do any of that, Nintendo will be on them, without a doubt. Blindly just start giving death threats to an indie company who simply made a game that they probably did not think it'll do that great. It probably would do some numbers, that's it. But this is just ridiculous that the artists and developers getting attacked for something that was just their job. Really? Criticism is fine. Criticism is fine, but this is going above and beyond. Speaking of criticisms, there's just talk about plagiarism, which I understand where they're coming from, but like showing these kind of pictures of like, oh, look at this PAL. It has features from all these different Pokemons mashed up into this weird, strange chimera that they just popped out. That's not plagiarism. That is called a ripoff or a knockoff. That's what I would say. It's not technically what they're going for is trying to throw them under the legal bus. Trust me, again, like I said, Nintendo will launch their armies of ninjas to take this game down if that was the case. The other controversy is that Palworld is an awful game based on like killing of animals and just slavery. I don't know what to tell you. It's a just quirky, silly little game. Give the little monkey an AK-47, watch him go to town. And the whole thing about animal slavery and all that, you get to decide that. You, when you make your little base and camp, get to decide whether your pals can live in a nice, organic, healthy environment, or it's gonna be the coal mines for them. It's your choice. You as a player get to choose that. If you want to play the good guy, you play the good guy. You play the bad guy, you play the bad guy. Do you go and address every game like that has like mechanics to make you the bad person or good person? Like, oh, this is an unethical game. You get to choose. Now, to say the criticism of the PAL designs being very similar to the Pokemon designs is valid. I agree. I walk around sometimes, I see, oh, that's definitely that Pokemon. That's definitely a ripoff of that one. There's no denying that. I just think the example they showed with the Green Rabbit and Cinderace from the mainline Pokemon series isn't the best example, because anyone can make a bipedal rabbit, and it just isn't clicking as much. Yeah, I guess you could say the top part, but again, it just doesn't work as much as this next example I'm going to show. This one definitely has it. Meowth and the PAL creature, the eyes, the mouth, there's no denying that. Some people say the body is from Skitty, but I'm going to be honest, that could be the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland for all I care. It's just the eyes and mouth, you can't deny that. That is definitely a ripoff. And here's the thing. I knew that going in. Me and many other people who probably wishlist this or bought this as this popularity started gaining about it, knew that this game was a Pokemon knockoff, Pokemon ripoff. There was no denying that. To say it's plagiarism is wrong, because if you go into any dollar store in any part of the world, you'll probably see a Frosted Flakes box with the Tony the Tiger, and then next to it, Pete the Polar Bear and Frosties. It's just the circle of life with products. You're gonna have the on-brand stuff, and then you're gonna have the off-brand stuff. You have the Harry Potter knockoffs, the Naruto knockoffs, Pixar and DreamWorks movies knockoff that I constantly see DVDs of. Now, the other scandal that is also coming out is the fact that the models for some of the PALs are strikingly similar to the models used in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The only issue is that Scarlet and Violet came out in 2022, I believe. The announcement trailer for Palworld came out a year before that, so kind of hard to say how they could have taken the models from those and put it in their games. And to be honest, if they did rip the models out and put in their own games, Nintendo would be on them like a cascading waterfall. There's no way they would even have another day going on like this. My hypothesis, theory, game theory, if you will, is that the developers saw the Pokemon they were gonna base it off of, made the model off it, changed the designs, the colors, the patterns, and there you go, Bob's your uncle. And like I said before, it's a knockoff, it's an off-brand. They weren't trying to be original here. That's what you got. They're trying to make it a plagiarism case, except it just doesn't work in this way. Unless they actually did rip off the models, then yes. But if they made it themselves and then redesigned it, it doesn't work at all, because there are plenty of games out there that have done this and they're still going on. We see the same over and over again. When games like Fortnite and Overwatch became popular, there were many off-brand versions that popped out that could straight up just be called plagiarizing, same as with Pokemon and Palworld here today, but they didn't. They were allowed to stand and keep going. I'm talking about, for example, Fortnite, right? And the version of the game I saw is pretty jarring. Look at that and tell me that's not just a straight up Fortnite plagiarism, because that's the argument that's being made, and it doesn't work. It's not Fortnite plagiarism. It's just a watered down version of Fortnite that people play. It's been around since June 2023. If it was plagiarism, if it really crossed any legal boundaries, it would be taken down. I think this is Palworld is most people's introduction to games that are just knockoffs. I don't think many people have dealt with this phenomenon before, so they're now seeing it, and the first thing they're going to say is plagiarism, when it's not. The assets and whatnot are clearly one-in-one of the original of the game that they're copying, but it's not a straight-up copy. You get what I mean? I know it's confusing, but you need to understand it still flies. The legal system finds it fair. You don't see Epic Games suing this down. Same thing happened with Overwatch. You have Paladins, which has been around for a long time, and still it hasn't been shut down, it hasn't been taken off, it hasn't been sued to the ground by Blizzard. Many of the characters are very similar to the ones in Overwatch. I mean, granted, Paladins changes a lot more, but some of it you could strikingly say, hey, that seems familiar. I mean, this same kind of argument of Palworld and Pokemon is the same I remember when Genshin Impact came out, was accused of plagiarizing Breath of the Wild, and I could see where they were coming from, but it's not, again, plagiarism. And the big component to take away is that if Nintendo isn't overreacting, and believe me, Nintendo will, you shouldn't either, because Nintendo will get to work when it needs to get to work. You don't have to go fight their battles for them. The corporation can handle themselves. Take 5, soldier. Now, if you want to argue about actual plagiarism, go to the Chinese games that don't just take the designs and the gameplay and make it somewhat similar. They just straight up take the models. Like the Pokemon app game that I saw, Chinese knockoffs of ads of. Like these ones, they're fine. They take the design, they change it up. Great. These just straight up take the models. There's Ash going toe-to-toe with Mewtwo. They are not ashamed of it at all. And gonna be honest, I used to see the animation of these ads and I was like, dang, I wish Game Freak could do it. If a Chinese mobile game company can take your Pokemon models and make great animations with it, it's a sad day. The last controversy that's being spread around is that the designs of the pals are AI generated. And well, the thing is, Steam has this disclosure kind of clause that you have to say that you used AI generation in your game, and Palworld does not have that. The finals does. The announcers you hear for the finals game, that's AI voice. That's not a real person. Also, the announcement of the trailer for Palworld came out before AI generation was even a thing. I think it was still a thing, but it was not as strong as it is today. So in a nutshell, I would say legally, if Nintendo could sue, they would have by now. Maybe we'll see later on in the week if something pops up that allows old Mario to put on his hat and go Goomba stomping on indie game developers. But for so far, yeah, I don't see it. I really don't. Like, the designs are definitely rip-offs, knockoffs. No one can deny that. But I know for sure the one who is going to get sued to the ground by Nintendo is the one who made the mod that allows you to put actual Pokemon from the Pokemon games, the models, into Palworld. Yeah, whoever you are, modder, I suggest you find a nuclear bunker, because Nintendo is definitely coming after you, especially if the rumors are true that you had to pay for this mod. Yeah, you kind of put a red target on your head, brother. Palworld might be Pokemon with guns, but you're about to see Nintendo with nukes. The thing is, after all these controversies, I think the one valid criticism that people can latch onto is that the developer has a history of just making early access games and then just leaving it there. Craftopia was another game which I remember vaguely trying it. Definitely fun. But it's still in early access, and I'm hoping Palworld doesn't go the same. With the success it has, I hope they are smart enough to take the money, put it into the game again, make it even more polished, and hopefully get it out of early access. It doesn't have to be. I mean, there's plenty of games that are still early access that have way more content than a AAA game, and Palworld itself has a lot of content. We'll see. I just find it sad that a decent amount of Pokemon fans and Nintendo fans are just foaming at the mouth, trying to rip and tear Palworld to shreds, when in reality, I think it's good. I think Game Freak needs a fire lit underneath them to let them know, hey, you kind of need to do something. You had a gold mine here you could have tapped, and you didn't, and someone came along and tapped it for you. And people say, oh, it doesn't matter. Game Freak could make any Pokemon game and sell millions. But that's just it. You don't understand. Corporations, it's not enough for them to make money or succeed. They need others to lose. To them, they're losing what they could have made because this competitor came and took it away from them. So we'll see. If Palworld had released like a week before a major mainline Pokemon game came out, I think you would see more of a reaction from Game Freak. They're definitely talking about this. Without a doubt, they're definitely talking about this. And you could already tell with Pokemon Legends Arceus that they have been trying to change the formula. So I'll give Game Freak that credit that they are trying. But they're a triple A company with, again, a very big franchise. They had to be making gigantic steps, not little small steps. They are beyond that. They need to start making bigger steps. Even just the basic needs of a proper optimized game. Scarlet and Violet definitely needed a lot of testing because that game was buggy at release. But yeah, Palworld is the number one selling game right now, and that sends a clear message that people want a fun game. People want a fun experience, and I think the best thing they could do is follow what Fortnite or Genshin Impact did. When they took over the world by storm, they kept the momentum going. They kept adding expansions, kept adding fun, unique things that brought people in. People complain a lot about Fortnite and Genshin Impact, making fun of it and whatnot, and yes, I'm one of those people that I will make fun of my friend who has 1,000 waifus on Genshin Impact. Like, you're clearly lobotomized if you're spending that much money. But it's fun. It caters to the audience, and it will constantly gather headlines. Fortnite, even recently, was getting headlines like, oh, we got Eminem in our game. We got Peter Griffin in our game. That's what Palworld needs to do, is constantly put in more expansions, more PAL, especially with all the money they made, and constantly be on the minds of people and be fun. That's all people ask from a game. I would say don't make any more knockoff ripoffs, at least like super blatant. You could still do like Pokemon inspired, but I think now they should focus more on original design now that they're under the microscope. You don't want to step on Nintendo's toes too much. Not many people can do that and get away without getting sued to oblivion. So good on you for that, I guess. But yeah, I think their original designs are actually pretty cool. If they keep focusing on original designs for their creatures, I think they could go far. Once you lose that momentum, it's hard. It's hard to get back up there. So Palworld has it. They just need to keep it going. Because if they don't, other companies will. This isn't a small matter. Seeing Pokemon squirm of it, and people say, oh, it's a big franchise, this doesn't bother so much. But nah, this is attracting people's attention. And I'm specifically talking about companies like Xbox, Sony, and other developers, high-end developers, are looking at this like, there's a market here. So if Palworld doesn't jump on this opportunity and continue the pace, these other companies will make their own and get on in it. When Baldur's Gate 3 was super popular, many companies were looking at like, God, I wish I could be making that bank. Same here. These things don't go under the radar for these companies. They see, they observe, and they want a piece of that pie. All in all, there's no denying it. Palworld is a Pokemon ripoff, but it's a fun ripoff. Some days I want Dr. Pepper, some days I want Dr. Thunder. And boy golly, Dr. Thunder is all I've been drinking these days. And the reason why is because Palworld developers are just a bunch of people who wanted to make a fun game, a game that people like. Based on their interviews, they had no idea how to use the technology, the engine that they were building upon. They were learning the job as they went, but they just kept putting in ideas of what was fun. A monkey with an AK? Put it in. A rocket launcher that could shoot penguins or maybe even capture humans using the PAL spheres? Again, put it in. And that's what game development was before these corporate types came in and started making everything based on a formula. Oh, this will sell well. This will. It was just a bunch of random people who wanted to put whatever goofy stuff they can and have a fun time with it. And that's why Palworld is selling so well. That's why Baldur's Gate sold so well. That's why Lethal Company sold so well. They're fun. You could feel the developers putting in ideas that are fun. People will say, oh, Palworld is soulless and whatnot, and that criticism, it could be valid in certain areas, but gameplay-wise, I don't see it. I genuinely think there's a lot of thought to like the animation and all that. Design-wise, yeah, there's definitely some design that are like, yeah, you took a bunch of them and mashed them together, didn't you? I mean, there's no denying that. but it's a fun game, and it's gone past all the legal reviews, so it's not illegal. None of what it's doing is illegal as of now. If something else pops up and rectifies that, then yeah, we will hold them accountable. The proper authorities will hold it accountable. But so far, Steam has said nothing, Nintendo has said nothing. And the Palworld producers themselves said they don't want to step on any IPs of other companies, especially now that they're getting real popular with it. I think this game's going to be around. I hope it expands, gets better, polishes it out using the money that it's gotten, and makes an even more fun experience that people can enjoy. But the criticism will always be allowed. Let's have a civil conversation. Let's not try and murder each other. And I think everything will be hunky-dory. It's a fun game, and I'll be lying if I secretly didn't wish that Digimon would take notes and the next game they make is someone like this. Or Viva Pinata. That was a game. That was an amazing game. I'm so mad that so many people don't know about Viva Pinata. Whenever I was playing Palworld, making the base, I was like, this reminds me of Viva Pinata. I wish there was another game of that. But yeah, there's definitely a fun market here that could be explored by companies that, if they put in the soul and effort, they could make something just like this and be just as successful. People want it. People want a fun game. And that's all there is. I'm going to go back to my Palworld addiction now. Peace.